Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just recently finished watching Elektra. This is from 2005. This is made by 20th Century Fox or 20th Century Studios, Regency Enterprises, and Marvel Studios. This is directed by Rob Bowman, who I didn't really see a lot of, stuff he directed, but mostly he's known for a lot of like working on TV shows. I can't name them at the moment, but that's what I found out on IMDb actually. And this is written by Mark Steven Johnson, Zach Penn, Stuart Zicherman, and M. Raven Metzner. This is also based on the characters from Frank Miller, well, renowned, comic book, not comic book, but graphic novel maker and whatnot, artist. So I'm sorry if I butchered that title. I probably did. In any case, we have the cast including Jennifer Gardner, Goran Visnjic, I hope I'm pronouncing that, Kristen Zien, William Lee, and Terence Stamp. So, yeah, you can see I'm wearing my Daredevil shirt. If you're wondering, because this movie came out during is the first week of December, nothing Christmassy came up. I'm recording this like 2 days before December hits. If you're wanting to see something Christmassy, there we go. Had this for a while. I'm sure I'll have more up. And suffice to say, when I rewatch this movie, which I will get into later, this does take place technically around Christmas, but there's very little Christmas in it. So, you know, but yeah, sorry, I had to check my mic. I wasn't sure if I was wearing it because it's black. It's in the, it blends in. So, yeah, Daredevil did not do very well, and it was a major flop, and not a major flop, but it was a flop in general, and in theaters. That there was really no high hopes for for an Elektra spinoff, um, and I remember it being bad. Sorry, scratching up the couch. I remember it being pretty bad movie overall. Um, but I gave it a shot. I didn't watch it in theaters. I watched it later. I think I got it from Blockbuster when it was around, and I saw it. I remember it being not good, but not awful. Um, but that was way back when. So now I rewatched it again. So here are my thoughts on 2005's Elektra. So the story in Elektra is, if you remember in the Daredevil movie, spoiler warning first of all, Elektra Nachios is killed. This Elektra Nachios, played by Jennifer Gardner, she's killed and she's brought back to life somehow. I'm assuming it's her mentor Stick, played by Terence Stamp. So, um, but yeah, their story is it's kind of, there's no amount of time given, but she's later becomes a cold-blooded assassin, um, and taking jobs, getting money for it to survive basically, um, and she's hired to kill this family, Mark and Abby Miller, played by Goran Visnjic. I'm butchering that name. Kristen Zien. Um, so yeah, she's hired to kill them, and but then she somehow bonds with them, that she now is protecting them from a group called the Hand, that wants to basically, is looking for the treasure, and some sort of, and apparently the treasure involves this girl, and the girl Abby, who seems to have some power. And so basically Electra's trying to protect the family. That's basically it. And you know what, if based on my story, based on how I explain this story, yeah, it's not very good. This is not a good movie. It's not one I'm angry at, like compared to, say, Hubie Halloween or War of the Worlds or whatever. This is like it's very very boring. It feels very passionless. There was like and it kind of shows because even from what I read, it was very rushed um, in cinematography, editing, and even script. And Jennifer Gardner was contractually obligated to return as Elektra, and even she says it's not a good movie. So, um, I guess one thing I do want to mention is the story. It's very convoluted, or it's maybe not exactly convoluted, but it's never really well explained what this what is going on. It does There is a narration in the beginning that's supposed to explain this war between good and evil, the evil being the hand, but it's like there's really no point in it, um other than it's supposed to help, for the villain side of things, but they talk about this treasure and supposed to be from Abby, and yet, and even that still, she's supposed to be kept a mystery. So I'm sorry if I spoiled it, but she's kept a mystery as to why the hand wants to kill her or use her. They don't. It's kind of inconsistent on their motives um, overall. So yeah, yeah. And with time passes, she's supposed to be an assassin, and I don't know. We don't really see her like after she comes back from the dead. Like she's trying to piece together what happened and like what about her life. We don't see anything regarding the previous Daredevil movie other than the flashback where she was dead and brought back to life. That's about it. And she's wearing the attire from the Daredevil movie, and that's there's just really nothing. And it seems like it was like a change from studios because Daredevil did not do well financially, and so maybe they want to step away as much as possible from Daredevil. So they did this, and it didn't work. Um, there's also this thing: the hand has these assassins that have abilities that is not explained, and when even even ninjas or assassins that when killed they just turn to dust, and it's really bad effect. It's not a really good effect, and it's not explained why they turn into dust. And there's some silly moments, like there's a moment where one of the assassins actually breaks his own neck on purpose, and just kind of sits there, just does that. It's pretty stupid. And the villains. The villains are not very good either. Kriegi is the leader, not the leader of the hand, but kind of like the son of the leader of the hand, and he has this ability to go move fast, or and whatever. So he's able to jump or teleport or whatever. I don't know. They don't really explain it. We just see it, and it's not even. And yeah, that as well is not a good effect. But he leads the group, another group of assassins with special abilities, to basically take down the you know Abby and her father. So yeah, and there's also this other thing that Elektra has the ability to predict the future through some method. You know, I can't even remember it. It's just that boring. Um, Again, back to the villains. Yeah, most of them are very forgettable. They don't really offer anything. Kriegi is supposed to play some part into Elektra's life. Elektra's trying to piece together. Yes, we do get flashbacks of her past life when she was a kid, involving her strict father and then of course her mother. And then we get this new edition where she has OCD, which wasn't in the original, so I think they wanted to add it to her character because either she got it after she came back from the dead, she's or that's how she's trained. I don't know. It doesn't really explain why she has OCD. She does have other things, like she has insomnia, and I'm certain that understandable because of what happened to her. Um, but yeah, she has, I don't know, she has these abilities that's not explained, um, or well explained. We don't know a ton about the hand. They're not even that interesting. We don't know their abilities. Don't know why they turn to dust. My only guess is they did that because they want to try to keep it PG-13 as much as possible. And this is characters. I think that's based off Frank Miller. And if you know Frank Miller, this could have been one of those movies that needed an R rating, because I think that's the best way to go. Um, but they didn't do that because this is Marvel. We got to get everyone in the seats, including youngsters if possible. Um, yeah, it's kind of tonally inconsistent. Sometimes Elektra can be, um, very is always almost always like cold blooded. Doesn't really have much reaction. Then she has to bond with Abby, and it's not handled very well, and it's very standard and enforced even. Um, I don't know. There's like a moment where she even laughs and smiles at Abby, and even their chemistry when they talk to each other isn't that great. Abby can be quite a brat when she wants to be. So I don't know. Even Abby apparently has some martial arts that is pretty pathetic in hindsight. Um, yeah, editing for the action scenes is not very good either. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on. The effects, for the most part, are also really bad. Even for 2005, um, is not very good. It looks more like from a not a P. I was gonna say P PlayStation game, or just from a video game mostly. Um, yeah, it just looks very shoddy overall. Um, so, I mean, I said all this bad stuff, and I gotta pause here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. If there's anything good, I will say Jennifer Garner at least pulls off Elektra very well, but not performance wise. She can. I think she could be a great Elektra if the writing and story supports that, and it doesn't. And I don't think even and like I said, I think she was not a fan of even doing this movie anyway. So, you know, what's there to say? Um, but I think she pulls off at least the look and at least some of her performance well enough, that you believe her to be Elektra. Uh, Terence Stamp is also fun. Um, as the teacher mentor stick, who can be kind of a, you know, can be very hard, and not always having the answers, though. And there's like kind of some cool moments, even though he's blind. Um, but yeah, let's see. Um, what else is good? I know I said the action or choreography isn't that great, but sometimes it can be cool. Other times it can be very ridiculous. There's like one moment where, oh, uh, Elektra tosses her sai so far, and it goes through a bunch of hedges and to kill an enemy, and it's very ridiculous. Overall, it feels very stupid. Just to include that, um, I don't know. It's a forgettable movie overall. Other than some of the performances from Jennifer Gardner and Terence Stamp, and at least some okay choreography. And it's not like I couldn't follow the story. I mean, again, the story is standard, but there's just not much explanation into the story. There's no depth. There's no passion. There's nothing really to it. Even when we get flashbacks of Elektra, I think maybe I mentioned this already. I'm sorry. that Elektra, you know, with her father involving her mother too, which wasn't in the original. Frankly, if the movie had decided to basically say, okay, we're not going to connect this to Daredevil. Well, if they wanted to connect it to Daredevil, you know, at least show how Jennifer Gardner as Elektra, you know, recovers from, you know, her life as, you know, coming back from the dead. Um, you know, even having some elements of Daredevil in it, not a ton to really upstage her, but you know, like there was some essence that it was there, even if it was a bad movie. It's which it is, but you know, I gave it 2.5, which I didn't think it was that awful. Um, but you know, let I want to see some development with you know continuing development for Elektra, where it last start up went off. And granted, it doesn't always you know tie in to the original, but still, um, I think that would have been the way to go. It'd be kind of the origin story, sort of an origin story for her. You know, coming back from the dead and becoming this assassin. It makes things sense. Have more explanation on who the hand, what the hand is about, and like their abilities or whatever. Because again, there was nothing supernatural in Daredevil, and yet in this spinoff there is something supernatural. So it's not as well explained. Um, so yeah, you know what? I would. I think I would give this realistically. I would give this 1.5. But I do feel to agree it's not one I'm like angry with compared to say Hoobie Halloween or War of the Worlds. It's more like there's just nothing. You know, to frankly, I could say give it a 2. But I think realistically, based on so many problems with the movie, aside from Jennifer Gardner, Terence Stamp, maybe a little bit of action um, and stuff, it's it's kind of like a 1.5. It, it's close to a 2. I think that's realistic, you know, rating for it. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on Elektra? Leave in the comments below. Give a like or dislike the review if you wish, and feel free to subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so you can be updated for any more future reviews. I hope I'm doing okay, and with I hope you're liking the reviews, and thank you for watching. I will try to get this stuff behind me decorated for the holidays or Christmas, or which is kind of what I celebrate. So, but yeah, I will see you guys in the next review.